can't see it.
Oh, yeah. Josh, yeah, sorry. You can go ahead now.
Roll call.
Okay. Josh Borderud, I am here. Tara Briscoe, are you here?
Present.
All right. Benji Gomez, if you're on video, just raise your right hand. Benji Gomez. All right. Pete Greitzinger. Pete is here. Ross Harris. Ross is here. Ray Jefferson. Ray is here. Kim Kazanis. Kim is here. Joe Mayfield. Joe is here. Jason Ramos. Jason is here. Jeremy Vickers. Jeremy is here. And Enid Wade. Is Enid with us? Don't think so. Okay. All right. Well, we do have a quorum, so we will now call the meeting of the Waco Plan Commission to order.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm here. I'm just, I was muted and everything.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, Enid. I don't see. I don't know what's wrong, but I apologize. So Enid is here. We will now call the meeting of the Waco Plan Commission on June 23rd, 2020 to order at about 7:05 p.m. On March 16th, 2020, the governor suspended various provisions of the Open Meetings Act pursuant to his state of disaster authority. The change was effective March 16th, 2020, until further notice or until the state disaster declaration expires. In accordance with social distancing guidelines, and while providing as much transparency as possible, the Waco Plan Commission meeting will not be open to the public. The meeting is being broadcasted live at www.wccc.tv. The audio is being recorded, and the recording will be available to the public. According to the Attorney General, governmental bodies must offer members of the public alternative methods of communication with their public officials. In an effort to allow for as much public input as possible, those who wish to speak on public hearings were required to register with planning staff by 12 p.m. on June 23rd, 2020. We have numerous speakers registered, and each will be allowed to speak for 3 minutes during the appropriate public hearing. The first item on our agenda is approval of the minutes of our May 26, 2020 work session and business meeting. Are there any changes or additions? At this time, I had discussed previously with city staff that at the top of the summary notes of the business session, it said 6 p.m. instead of 7 p.m. It was actually held at 7 p.m. That's the only correction that I had. Does anyone else have any summary notes, minutes, corrections, or additions at this time? Okay, hearing none, they will stand approved as presented with that correction. We will now move on to our public hearings, beginning with subdivisions. City staff, we'd ask for you to take up items 1, 2, and 3.
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the commission, we have the following subdivision plats for your consideration tonight. Preliminary plat of the Bodie Road Edition, ETJ. Final plat and construction plans of the Royals Ranch Edition, Phase 3, ETJ. And final plat and construction plans of the H&B Casparian Edition. City staff does recommend approval of these subdivision plats subject to conditions that have been outlined in the comment letters.
Okay, do we have anyone opening the public hearing? Do we have anyone here to speak on behalf of items 1, 2, or 3?
Nobody's signed up.
Okay. We will close the public hearing. And do we have a motion on items 1, 2, and 3? The city staff recommendation was approval with conditions.
Motion we approve those with conditions per city recommendation.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Harris for approval with conditions. I believe we had a second by Mr. Mayfield. Do we have any discussion at this time? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval with conditions, please indicate by extending your right hand. All right, thank you. And all of those, and then Enid, do you approve? do you vote in favor of this motion?
I do.
Okay. All opposed by same sign? Seeing none, it passes unanimously. Items 1, 2, and 3 are approved with conditions. City staff, would you please take up the final plat on agenda item number 4?
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the commission, this is a final plat and construction plans of the Buckingham Estates Edition, Phase 5, and city staff does recommend approval of the request for the subdivision.
And my understanding is there is no one here signed up to speak on these, so we will open and close the public hearing on these matters. We have a recommendation of straight approval from city staff. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move we recommend approval of item number 4, place 5 of the image.
Second.
All right, we have a motion for approval by Mr. Mayfield, and we have a second by Reverend Briscoe. Do we have any discussion? All right. Hearing none, if you would indicate approval for this motion by extending your right hand. And Ms. Wade, how do you vote on this?
Approve.
All right. So we have a unanimous motion to approve, and we saw no hands the other way, so this stands as approved. Can we move to our zoning applications?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. The first one is a request from Linda Weaver on behalf of the National Women in Ag Texas chapter for property at 127 Garrison Street for a special permit for a community garden in an R2 district. We mailed out 19 notices and had 0 returned. And, excuse me, let me flip over. Planning Services recommends approval of the special permit subject to the special provisions and conditions and based on the following findings. 1, that the proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive plan. 2, that the proposed use is compatible with the appropriate and orderly development of the area in which it is located. 3, that the proposed use would not be more objectionable to neighboring properties because of traffic congestion, noise, fumes, vibrations, or any other characteristics in any use permitted in this zoning district without the grant of a special permit. And 4, that available community facilities and services are adequate for the proposed use.
And my understanding is we have 2 individuals, both kind of on behalf of the applicant, who have registered to give comment in this matter. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Hello?
Yes, hi. Are you going to speak on behalf of item 5 on the agenda?
Yeah.
Case 26. Okay. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Okay.
Can you please state your name and address for the record?
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. This is Josh Borderud. I'm the chair of the Plan Commission, and you've joined us here on a matter about the National Women in Ag special permit for a community garden. Are you here to speak on this matter?
Thomas
Can you
said
hear me?
they not get it. That's what Thomas said. He said that he mad at too.
Linda Weaver, are you with us?
Is this Miss Bell? Okay, we may want to just pull the plug on this one. I hate to do it. I feel like we don't have a good line of communication on it.
This is what he said, your favorite style of time. Uh-huh.
Beatrice, were both of the speakers signed up to approve it? They were here to be positive voices. Is that correct?
They are both, they're the applicant and the manager for the request. They would be the manager for the request.
Thank you. Well, then, Josh, I think we're fine.
Yeah, I believe so. Is there another call, Beatrice, from Miss Weaver? Was that Miss Bell?
Yes, I'm showing Linda Weaver is available. Linda, are you with us? Linda? It's showing she's on the call.
Okay. She's on the phone, but,
Yeah, all these individuals are on.
and you unmuted her,
I did.
and
she
she's
didn't.
not responding?
Mm-mm.
Okay, mute her and we'll go on.
Okay, we're done with this case.
Okay. It sounds like we're not getting any sort of feedback from them.
Okay. But they were here both, like you said, on behalf of the applicant. So at this time, let's go ahead and close the public hearing. And do we have a motion?
I move we recommend approval of the special permit for the community garden for staff recommendation.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Harris and a second by Dr. Vickers. Do we have any discussion on this matter? All right, hearing none, if you would vote in approval with your right hand. All right, I see everyone there. And Ms. Wade, do you vote in approval or disapproval of this motion?
I vote to approve.
All right, well then that makes it unanimous, and this will go as a recommendation of approval to the City Council. Next up, we have case Z-20-45. We've got a short-term rental.
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request from Billy and Francis Stevens for property at 1701 South 12th Street, Unit 1201, for a special permit to allow short-term rental type 3 in an R3E district. We mailed out 46 notices and had 4 returned, 3 opposed, and 1 neutral. Planning Services recommends approval of the special permit subject to the special provisions and conditions and based on the following findings. 1, that the proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive plan. 2, that the proposed use is compatible with the appropriate and orderly development of the area in which it is located. 3, that the proposed use would not be more objectionable to neighboring properties because of traffic congestion, noise, fumes, vibrations, or any other characteristics in any other use permitted in the zoning district without the grant of a special permit. And 4, that available community facilities and services are adequate for the proposed use. These findings are required for the granting of a special permit as per section 28-122 of the City of Waco zoning ordinance.
Okay, and it looks like we have both the applicant and the applicant's designated operator available to comment. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. If you could give us your name and address and then anything you'd like to tell us about this application.
Francis or Pam, are you with us?
We can hear them, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were communicating at the beginning of the meeting,
Yeah.
so it was working. Fran?
Hello?
Hi, is this Fran?
Hello?
Hey, Josh, I'm back. I'm sorry.
Hey.
I'm back, but I'm audio only.
Francis?
You,
Yeah,
okay.
Pam. I think
Okay,
they
Pete.
muted us, so we'll probably be next.
You have,
They'll unmute to where we can hear them, so I think they've unmuted us just so, because we're probably next on the agenda.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
They can't hear us.
Yeah. And then it's usually pretty short. Hopefully it's short. Hopefully none of our friends have decided to complain.
Oh, Lord. What an experience
Francis?
for you too.
Francis?
Yeah, you know, it's
Pam?
you can't always control what people do, but it's just unfortunate. And yeah, I don't think I told you this, but we had run into those
Can we
boys
cut their audio?
prior.
Is there a way to cut that audio?
You guys need me to start singing something. I'll belt it out, and we'll just, you know.
I feel like nothing else, our work here tonight will at least stand as a cautionary tale for public hearings via WebEx. I feel like city staff is doing a great job.
Amen.
Just sometimes what can you do, you know? There's so many technical glitches with this, so we appreciate all the work city staff is doing to approximate public hearings via WebEx, and it's just, you know, at least we've got our sense of humor. I don't know, do we have anybody that we can talk to about this one? Does it look like?
It's red, so it's muted.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, can you hear us?
Yes, Josh, we can hear you. We were just trying to see if we could establish connection with the callers. On our end, it is showing that they're connected,
Yeah,
but
I'm
for some
showing it on
reason,
here.
they cannot hear us.
Okay, well, we appreciate all y'all are doing. I realize this is frustrating for y'all and you're doing your best and we're trying to work in the parameters. So I don't know if do you want to move to an item that you want to come back to this to see if we can establish a connection or just vote on it?
Well, I will say that the registered speakers
Or all applicants.
are all applicants for this request as well.
Yeah. Well, I think with that, you know, it's unfortunate the city staff has done a great job of attempting to, you know, incorporate as much public input into this process as possible. But at this point, given that these don't appear to be contested matters, I think that we feel confident proceeding with the votes on them at this time. So with that, let's go ahead and close the public hearing and entertain a motion in this matter.
Mr. Chairman, I move we recommend approval on this item.
Second.
We've got a motion by Mr. Mayfield and a second by Dr. Vickers. Do we have any discussion? If not, all of those voting in favor of this motion, if you would indicate by raised hand. And then, Pete, how do you vote in this matter?
I vote yes.
All right. And Enid, how do you vote in this matter?
I vote yes.
Okay. It is unanimous with everyone indicating support for the motion. So it goes as a recommendation of approval to City Council. Let's move to Z-20-46.
Yes, sir. This is a public hearing on a request from Carlos Diaz on behalf of Southern General Stores LLC for property at 1223 North 18th Street for a special permit to allow restaurants, retail sales, or personal automobile or financial services providing goods or services directly to customers and motor vehicles outside of an enclosed structure adjacent to a lot used for residential purposes in a C2 district. We mailed out 27 notices and had 2 returned, and both of those were neutral feedback. Planning Services recommends approval of the special permit subject to the special provisions and conditions and based on the following findings. 1, that the proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive plan. 2, that the proposed use is compatible with the appropriate and orderly development of the area in which it is located. 3, that the proposed use would not be more objectionable to neighboring properties because of traffic congestion, noise, fumes, vibrations, or any other characteristics in any use permitted in the zoning district without the grant of a special permit. And 4, that available community facilities and services, including the road system, providing access to the proposed use are adequate for the proposed use. These findings are required for the granting of a special permit as per section 28-122 of the City of Waco zoning ordinance.
Is there a chance we may be able to reach any of the 3 applicants here?
Give us just a minute. We're going to try one.
Okay.
Neil, can you hear us? Neil? I don't know what's going on.
Unfortunately, we're having the same issue where they can't hear us for some reason. And we don't have any registered speakers in opposition of the request, same as the others. All of them are with the applicant.
Okay, with that being said, that it appears to be no one speaking in opposition to it, it appears to be an uncontested matter. Let's go ahead and close the public hearing and entertain a motion in case Z-20-46.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve, let's see, number 7, Z-20-46.
Second.
All right, we appear to have a motion by Dr. Vickers and a second by Ms. Jefferson. Do we have any discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, if you would indicate by uplifted right hand. All right. That. Oh, Jeremy, all right, Joe as well. All right, great. And then Pete, do you approve or disapprove of this motion?
Approve.
All right, and Enid, do you approve or disapprove?
Approve.
All right, so again, this carries unanimously and will go as a recommendation of approval to City Council. Taking up our final item tonight, we have Z-20-47. What is the recommendation of city staff in this case?
Yes, sir. This is a public hearing on a request from Waco Property Rental LLC for property at 2712 South 2nd Street to rezone from R1B to PUD.
Hello?
We mailed out 19 notices and had 2 returned opposed. Planning Services recommends approval of this request to change the zoning from R1B to PUD based on the following findings and subject to the following conditions. The finding is that the proposed PUD is in keeping with the purpose and intent of the PUD ordinance by providing a high level of urban amenities and design standards while allowing flexibility in the use and development of the land. And the conditions are: 1, the final PUD must meet all development standards consistent with the site requirements of the Plan Review Committee, including but not limited to the following: site grading and drainage, signage regulations, parking, site coverage, access and circulation, landscaping, college and university neighborhoods district overlay, refuse location and access, and fire protection location and access. 2, drainage for the site must meet the requirements of the City of Waco stormwater management regulations. If off-site drainage is needed to meet regulations, appropriate drainage easements must be obtained before approval of any construction permits for the site. 3, properties shall be platted prior to issuance of building permits. 4, the narrative mentions that the property may be subdivided into individual lots. This will require conversion of the driveway into private street constructed to City of Waco street standards. The final PUD shall include a fully engineered street design and utility layout for the proposed private street. And 5, a capacity study showing the impact to the sewer system must be provided with the final PUD.
Okay, do we have any opportunity to reach the 2 individuals that are appearing for the applicant in this matter?
No, we're confirmed to not have connection.
Okay. Also, given that that there were no registered speakers in opposition, this is also an uncontested application. So at this time, let's close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve based on staff findings and conditions.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Reverend Briscoe and a second by Mr. Greitzinger. Do we have any discussion? All right, hearing none. For those appearing by video, if you could raise your right hand in approval, if you approve of this motion. Appears everyone on video has. Tara, do you also approve? Oh, I see Pete is approving, Tara is approving, and then Enid, are you also approving of this?
Yes.
All right, motion carries unanimously. This will go as a recommendation of approval to City Council. City staff, do we have anything else to take up this evening?
No, not this evening. Thank you so much for your patience and for your time during our meeting and for bearing with us throughout the whole thing.
Oh no, we appreciate your good work and all the good attempts to make this work electronically and virtually and onward through the fog, as they say. And so we'll see you all again next month. And we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks,